Jan, I'm glad to believe that Sword and Shield are the worst products ever released under the Pokemon name and an affront to the childhoods of everyone who's ever
yes, my childhood is destroyed.
To catch them all.
I have burned everything Pokemon related.
Okay.
I'm relinquishing my title as resident Pokemon professor.
You're all in on Baby Yoda now, right?
I'm all in on Baby Yoda, and I am now the leader of the destined.
Oh.
I am the Cyber Sleuth.
Damn.
And I've come to talk to you about the whole narrative of both Digimon Cyber Sleuth games, Hackers Dream thing.
Soul Hackers.
Soul Hackers.
Is this a Kingdom Hearts?
It's not a Kingdom Hearts thing. Every time I go on a tangent, isn't a Kingdom Hearts thing.
Is Digimon like Kingdom Hearts?
You know,
Is Angemon in Kingdom Hearts? Because I'll play it.
What?
If Angemon's in there.
there's something
Is
that kinda
Angemon
looks like
an
Angemon.
angel or like
Yeah,
an angioplasty?
It's an angel that was a cat.
Okay.
Right?
No, that's Angelwoman.
No.
Oh, sorry.
No
Excuse
cat.
me.
No cat is an angel. I'm sorry to tell you. They're all devils.
Angemon started as Patamon, Ben.
That, of course. Sorry. Anyways.
It's fine.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a question.
Okay.
Two questions.
Two questions.
Which one did you get?
I got Sword.
Okay. Do you like it?
I love it.
Okay. There we go. All right. I just wanted to establish that up front.
Okay. Yes. I guess leading up to the release, the internet was on fire, a slow burn, and then went into like a full wildfire last week.
Yeah, a raging inferno.
Related to the game. I understand people's complaint with the national decks not being included because, hey, it's a Pokemon game on a console. We should have everything. Plus, the tagline is gotta catch them all. For me personally, I didn't really quite care that they cut a couple Pokemon, but that leads into the other complaint.
Is it a couple or is it like 700?
It's like a good chunk.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like culling maybe half or close to 3/4.
Because we were in the like quadruple digits, right? Or
No,
getting close, like 700 maybe.
Around 700.
Okay.
I think we would be around 8 or like close to 9.
All right, so
Yeah.
pushing the 1,000
Pushing
Pokemon.
it. Yeah. And it didn't really affect me much, but then Game Freak had promised, like, hey, we'll cut these so we can focus on the animations and the graphical quality of the new game. Don't worry, y'all. And then a couple GIFs and screenshots came out of the same repeated animations from the 3DS games. And hey, like this move is called double kick. They should kick twice, but really they're just going up and down the Y-axis twice. And that was a little bit of a mess.
Huh.
But hey, when I eventually got my hands on it, there are definitely parts of the game that look like very, very, I'd say maybe close to like 360 quality in terms of graphics. Some of the textures is a little muddy.
The Switch is not the most powerful.
Yeah, and
piece
we've
of
seen
hardware
the
on the
games
market.
like Fire Emblem has some real ugly textures. Like this isn't exclusive to Pokemon.
Totally. But you could totally tell there were definitely parts where like they had spent a lot of time making that specific thing look great. And there, maybe not all the moves animate 100% great. Like, hey, that thing has a mouth. Maybe they should shoot the beam move out of their mouth. But there are a couple moves that look great. Like when Pokemon Dynamax and Gigantamax, and that is a new thing in this game where they get real big. And it's taken
Is
the place.
Dynamax bigger than Gigantamax or is Gigantamax bigger than Dynamax?
They're the same. Only certain Pokemon can Gigantamax, though. Everyone can Dynamax. Only a couple of them can Gigantamax.
Why?
Because the latent
Some of them are
power,
better.
the meteor dust, right?
Stardust.
Stardust.
Are the starters in
Stardust.
Shield defensive focused and are the starters in
They're
Sword?
the same starters.
The legendaries,
Are
one
the-
is- one looks
right,
like a
it's
sword
okay,
and one
yeah.
looks like a shield.
One is a wolf sword, one is a wolf shield.
Is that the only difference? One character?
There are gyms that are different and a couple of Pokemon that are exclusive to each game. That are the differences between the two versions.
A Grookey on both?
Grookey's on both.
Grookey's on both,
Yeah.
and in our hearts, both
And
of
in our
us.
hearts. That wonderful
gang.
head of hair.
Oh, he's so
God.
beautiful.
But I really liked it.
Poplio not in it though.
Poplio is not in it.
What?
I'm sorry, Jeff. I'm sorry.
Weird.
Yeah. Especially if it's the last gen of starters that came out. I don't know.
Like you might have Poplio on a Switch already, right? Or could you through like Let's Go? No, I guess
No,
that wouldn't.
no.
That wouldn't.
That was just
okay.
a
That was
OG
just okay. All right.
150.
Okay.
yeah, I've been having a good time with it.
What's the number? I shouldn't even focus, but is
This
there
is Gen 8.
No, I mean number of Pokemon in the game. Like,
Oh God.
I thought I saw like 400 or something like that. Does that sound right?
I think it's around that,
Okay.
and with like about 80 new Pokemon.
Okay,
I want to say
sounds like a lot of Pokemon.
it's a lot of Pokemon
catch.
It's a lot of Pokemon to catch.
and
I'm just saying
to animate and balance and stuff.
Yes.
They don't put out new Skylanders games, but if they put out one and Drobot didn't work on it anymore, I'd be like, fuck this.
Sure. And that is another thing they had taken out. They had taken out a crap ton of the moves of Pokemon. So if you were to transfer one in with that move, it wouldn't work. But the parts where it does work, I've been enjoying it. It's fairly easy, and I know it's aimed as a kid's game, but there are things that this game does specifically that kind of makes it a little too simple for battling, for like to get through the story.
Huh? Does it like does
shares
it feel
your-
like a simplification from the previous games?
In terms of XP sharing with your party, so now everyone will get experience from every single encounter, whether it's
Yeah.
catching, battling.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
It's good in theory, and I like the change in theory, but the problem is they don't really adjust the difficulty of the gyms to
Yeah.
compensate for it.
Yes. It's funny because I would have more trouble with random trainer encounters with other NPCs rather than actual gym leaders. With the NPCs, they're going to have a wider variety of Pokemon rather than gyms, which are all themed. But yeah, with the XP sharing, you wind up over leveling very, very fast. That to compensate for that, I'd have to juggle separate teams. So my main team wouldn't be super overpowered by the time I reach a gym or whatever. And I know it's like, hey, it gets rid of grinding and everything, but at the same time, I'm kind of speeding through it too much where I didn't expect for a bunch of my Pokemon to already be evolved by the time I get to the second or third gym.
Yeah, something that they do that's nice to kind of deal with that and help you manage those multiple teams is the fact that now you can just directly transfer to the box
Yes.
from your Pokedex.
So that's a thing they had taken from Let's Go. You no longer have to visit a Pokemon Center. If you want to reach someone, a Pokemon that you had just caught or one of a Pokemon you caught before, you can just go into your options menu, swap that bad boy in and everything, which is neat. The biggest thing that's new to this game is the wild area. And the wild area, I'm kind of pro and super against it in terms of the second you connect online and connect your Switch to the internet in the wild area, the performance of the game tanks.
Yikes!
Oh, wow.
Like it runs at a decent 30, but as soon as you connect online, it goes sometimes when you see other players or it's like snowing or raining in the wild area and there's a bunch of Pokemon, you'll hit single digit frames and like the game will stall for a bit.
Yikes!
Yeah. The wild area is this like fully 3D open space where you
Social
can
slash.
Yeah, it's kind of
competitive.
social. You can team up to take on Pokemon raids, which will be like you have you and three other people have one Pokemon against a Gigantamax Pokemon. They kind of range it. There's like every kind of Pokemon you can find in the game in there. All sorts of level ranges.
Sounds cool.
Yeah, so that part is really neat. And I almost wish they had replaced the traditional routes with just the wild area to traverse through.
Yeah.
Because you'll see that was probably the first time in a long time in a Pokemon game I've felt like actual like fright and terror like running through a place. Because normally you'll run into Pokemon that you're appropriately leveled for or like are their levels are terribly way under yours. But here you'll come across like, oh crap, that's a herd of Machokes, and they're all running towards me. It's a bunch of
They're all just
buff
running at you,
gray dudes.
flexing.
Yeah, and then like you'll enter an encounter with them, and they'll be like 30 levels ahead of you, and you can't catch them, so you have to run away. But sometimes you can't run away; that they just beat up your whole team.
So Machokes move in herds. Is what you're saying?
I would say it was almost a murder of Machokes.
That the wild area to me, it hit that kind of. So, I mean, something that Pokemon players our age, something that people who like got into Pokemon as a kid, as a teen, is always that promise of like, one day there's going to be a Pokemon game that's just like the
world.
Yeah. Like the Pokemon game that's existed in your head, the idea of just like, okay, this is just a Game Boy with just like, this little Pikachu goes over here, goes, and then the other
and
thing
like the level design is kind of a series of hallways with some puzzles in between and stuff. But
I totally get what you're saying, but it almost feels like people talking about the Promised Land. It's like you're dreaming of entering the kingdom of heaven or something.
What Breath of the Wild was, right? Like you're playing like one of the first Zeldas, and you're just imagining like, wow, imagine if like that sprite was a whole fucking cliff face you could climb.
Imagine if I could see a mountain and go there.
Yeah.
Whoa, someday.
But this wild area is kind of the closest it's ever gotten to that feeling for me.
And like there's the weather changes and everything, and like the types of Pokemon you can find in those regions change depending on the weather, depending on the time you get there and everything. And the raids are really nice because you can wind up catching Pokemon that are actually pretty difficult to find or evolve into and everything. It's funny because when you connect to the internet, you will see random players just zooming around on their bikes or running around.
Throughout the entire game or just in that one spot?
Just in the wild area.
Okay. And is the wild area like a separate mode from the menu, or is it integrated into the...
It's a different region. Yeah.
Okay. So it is kind of siloed off?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then already I'll find people not necessarily breaking but exploiting the game because they have found specific dens. Dens are where you access the raids, which are like random beacons in the world. But they'll access specific dens and keep spawning a Pokemon in there so they can find a specific one. And like the rarity chances are tied to specific dens or whatever.
All right. So now so they're just shooting into the loot cave.
Exactly.
The Pokemon cave.
Yeah.
They're looking for the Dittos.
Yeah, got it.
And like that part's been really neat. The story is very... It's very basic. It's very hit or miss. Your rival is very overpsyched about his undefeated brother. That's the champion.
One of the most annoying video game rival slash.
I wouldn't even call him a rival.
Yeah, I understand them maybe wanting to get away from actually having rivals like Gary was and stuff, because make it a little more kid friendly. Like your rival is just like your neighbor kid, whose older brother is the best Pokemon trainer, and so that's kind of how you get into it.
Not anymore.
But this kid is always he's always somehow one step ahead of you, and he's always just like, I'm so excited that we get to go do this thing. Are you excited that we get to do this thing? Are you going to do the thing with me? And you're just like, yes, I have to. It's literally the next objective.
I'm going to catch them all.
Yeah.
I mean, all.
I'm going to beat you and eventually probably your brother. I'm only on the second gym, but I've got a feeling that I'm going to fight that dude's Charizard at some point.
And I took it down. And I gotta say, the newer designs of the Pokemon I actually enjoy a lot. I like the newer ones they've added. Some of the
big pile of coal.
Yes. Oh, dude.
What's that one called?
Colmar. I don't know.
God, when it the third evolution is like Colossus or something. Great. And it's just a pile of coal. That looks like a dinosaur. Pile. It's great,
man.
Some of the evolution
Pokemon, when it gets into inanimate objects as characters, is when it really starts weirding me out.
Yeah.
They just slap eyes on. Okay, what do we got? Like an ice cream cone,
a pile of sand,
pile of coal, a pile of sand. I'm talking exclusively in this one.
Oh, okay.
What is a coughing?
It's a corgi.
A coughing
is like a cool, unique.
But what is it? Like, what is that object? What is is it a gas? Some kind of gas bag? Like, what is?
I think it's like,
what would coughing taste like?
A hard.
Is it a plant? Is it a?
He's a mineral.
Flies.
He's
okay. Looks like a landmine.
Yeah.
Emits smoke.
Yeah.
Okay.
Looks sick.
Okay.
Just
and also looks
sick. Like electric mouse, I get it.
Sure.
But what about an electric corgi, Brad?
What about a
Yamper?
Mr. Mime?
I love Yamper.
Yo, okay, Mr. Mime.
Oh boy, here we go.
Jan has his hand in the air.
I hate Mr. Mime.
Mr. Mime, like now or forever?
Forever.
Because of what he did to Ash's mother?
Exactly. Ruined a lovely home. Ash's mother. Never mind. In the movie, also Detective Pikachu, terrifying. I didn't like seeing the texture of his skin. Anyway,
best scene though.
Mr. Mime, the Galarian form, because ever since Gen 7, they've introduced regional varieties of Pokemon. Mm-hmm. They've introduced a Galarian Mr. Mime and then given him a third evolution and called him Mr. Rhyme, and he tap dances. He has a fun mustache and a bowler hat. It's great. I'm back on the Mime train.
Mr. Rhyme,
Mr.
but he wears a
Rhyme.
bowler hat and he tap dances. I feel like that's a missed opportunity for what I want Mr. Rhyme to do. I want just the dookie rope chains, fucking Kangol.
Oh, yeah,
I
There's
want,
an NPC with a.
I want a
dookie
different
chain.
regional, like next Gen 9, whatever region they're in. I want all these Pokemon to be.
Game Freak definitely doesn't have a history of like
very
racially
shaky, racial.
insensitive
Yeah, of course.
I really like Galarian Meowth.
Galarian Meowth is funny, and then when it evolves into a Berserker because it's a cat, it's great.
Galarians, what's that game? Was that a Dreamcast RPG?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's like yeah.
Is that Dreamcast or that PS1? Somewhere in that.
something
Somewhere in
like
that.
Galarians is something special.
Galarians.
But the thing that's always bugged me is that having to farm for Pokemon and like breed them constantly to try and get the appropriate nature so they'd be good competitively. And that's always been a bummer because like, okay, I got to wait for these 2 Pokemon to do it, grab their egg, run around, wait for it to hatch. Oh, it's a bad one. Fuck it. Make them do it again, et cetera, until you find the one you want. But post-game, once you get to the battle tower, and the battle tower is just like a gauntlet against NPCs, you can earn, or you can start to buy an item called mints, and mints will straight up just change the nature of your Pokemon. So then you could get really great ones right off the bat when you start with them, and that's been really fucking neat. And the other thing that's really cool with the battle tower and then with competitive Pokemon is you can rent a team. So if you don't necessarily want to put in the work to build a team of your own, or you want to try a specific build, because there's a bunch of like different like mins and maxes of like, okay, this is my play style of like with water Pokemon, which will affect each other, versus like, hey, this is a trick room team, or like a whatever. You can rent a team to try it out, or put up your own team for other people to try out, which is actually pretty fudging neat to kind of get around the whole thing of like picking individual Pokemon and like changing their stats or specific moves. And also to fucking pick moves has been streamlined, because in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, you needed a specific item, which they didn't give you a lot of, to remember an old move. Here, you can just go to a dude in a Pokemon Center. It's like, yo, help my Pokemon remember this shit. Tight. All right, now we're going to battle.
Yeah,
it's great.
Yeah.
But yeah, some of the technical stuff it's a little. It's not a little bit of a bummer. It's a lot of bit of a bummer when you're running around the wild area and stuff. There's also a moment during like one of the cutscenes where everything for the most part has been animated. But this specific one, and I couldn't tell why it was this specific one, was just a bunch of still pictures.
Weird.
Yeah. And it's not a deal breaker per se, but I guess after playing Fire Emblem on the Switch, I had expected voice acting for whatever reason.
Yeah. Wow. Actually, now that you pointed it out, I hadn't even noticed it, but that would have carried this, even if it's not everyone. Like even if it's just like Hop and Leon and the train or the
if
gym
it's just like the
leaders.
cinematics in between or the interactions or whatever. Because there's a gym leader where his whole shtick is like he's a rock singer, and then there's a part where he screams into his mic, and then for it to be pretty silent kind of takes away from the impact of that. Even just some like vocal affectations of like would have been welcomed at least.
And it especially sticks out because the music in that game is phenomenal.
It rips.
It's really good. It's like, I mean, I've only played a few Pokemons, but it's the best it's ever been. IMO. Like we specifically shouted out the theme that plays during gym battles.
Yeah.
It's kind of got like, so all the gym battles in the game take place in these big coliseums. They look like kind of like soccer arenas.
Yeah.
Because it's in like a fictional UK.
Fake UK, yeah.
And the song that plays kind of like when this thing starts amping up, it almost has like a Kerncraft kind of like thing of like people like cheering along.
Okay,
There's like fake vuvuzelas in it and stuff. Like they lean into it in a cool way.
Yeah. And then I don't know, like a lot of people are poo-pooing on like the Dynamaxing because they got rid of Z moves and Mega Evolutions. But I feel like this is a good alternative to it because Dynamaxing, Gigantamaxing only lasts for 3 turns rather than the full
like the rest of the fight.
The rest of the fight. So you can actually kind of cater around that and everything. I haven't got the chance to pop online too much just yet, but it's been okay. It's a little awkward trying to link up with friends to do a raid or to do a specific trade. I will say though.
Oh, I got it. Speaking of
Tell me what you
we
want.
gotta trade later.
Tell me what you want. You want a Farfetch? Yo,
I gotta
Farfetch is
evolve
back in this game.
my rock and rolla. Or no, whatever he is after.
Acerola.
No Pokemon dealing on this podcast.
That's right.
I feel like you're opening your trench coat over there.
Yo, I got the Pokevirus if y'all want.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want that Grookey to have some Pokevirus? I got you, son.
Yeah.
It's getting very uncomfortable.
Sure, give me that Grookey.
All right, sounds
me
very
Grook.
very positive overall.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
I've seen like a bunch of people kind of like 180 on the game of people saying
After
like
they got it in their hands.
after they actually got it in their hands. I've seen like a lot of threads on Reddit and like Twitter, people just being like, well, I wasn't gonna get the game, but I got a copy as a gift and it's okay. I mean, it's not to excuse like the fucking what it seems like shortcuts that Game Freak has taken and everything.
Yeah.
Maybe if they make another version next year, some of that shit will be included.
I was gonna say, is there much of a chance of that? Haven't they kind of been like one iteration per platform for a while?
They've done like a second,
Right.
like kind of like a
Yellow.
best of,
Yeah.
like improvement.
Oh, that's right. There
Yeah.
was more than one on the 3DS, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. So maybe if that
Pokemon Gun.
Pokemon Gun,
Yeah.
What?
It's
you know,
the
Sword,
third
Shield,
for Sword
Gun.
and Shield.
Oh wow. Good lord, man.
but yeah,
I mean, what else would you have? Mace.
Baton.
Yeah.
helmet,
Helmet.
fist.
Pokemon
Hailbird.
Helmet.
Pokemon helmet.
The band, though.
Now we're talking.
But yo, catch me on the streets fighting y'all.
Yeah.
Fight everyone.
You'd be wilding out there in the wild area.
Fuck yeah. Oh, last thing,
Okay.
you can make curry in the game.
Yeah.
All right.
Delicious.
It's a fun little mini game.
It reminds me
You
of
got-
making poffins in Diamond and Pearl.
That's exciting.
Have you gotten anything? What's your highest rating?
Yo, I made this sour apple curry that when I saw the picture, it looked gross, but my Pokemon loved it.
That sounds like that could be really good.
Yeah.
I've never gotten above a Wobbuffet.
Nice. There's this one Pokemon that looks like a butt on its face, but it's
Okay.
really cute.
What's it called?
Snom.
Sorry, what?
It's like snow, but with an M. Snom.
Okay.
Snum.
To evolve, you have to be best friends with it. It became my best friend.
Done.
Oh, I really like there's a milk Pokemon, and to
yeah.
evolve it, you have to spin around a bunch, like you're churning
You have to give it a sweet
Does
treat.
it turn into butter?
it. Whipped cream.
Okay.
Okay. Sure.
It's great.
All right. Great.
Raise a barn later.
Yeah.